I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a powerful novel that you will just love. It is called The Last Martini. It is a gripping, seductive, and shocking thriller by John Chierichella. A seemingly innocent night of indulgence turns deadly for Nicole Beaumont, whose life is upended when she wakes up next to two lifeless bodies. Suspense, scandal, and a shocking twist await in this must-read novel. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us once again here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Books to Life Marketing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. John, so great to have you back on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
I still remember my martini. I think it was 2020. It was a Kettle One up with olives, very dry, and it was perfect. And I haven't had a martini since.
Well,
But
my preferred martini is the Bombay Sapphire on the rocks, very dry, with as many olives as can fit in the glass.
that sounds great. I'm a Bombay Sapphire man myself at times, and gin martini is the true martini. If you're having a vodka martini, you're a faker. So I was a faker, you were the real deal, which is cool. But I used to go back and forth, but I don't drink it all anymore, but I can still reminisce, right?
Well, I don't drink as much anymore myself.
Exactly. I think it's a good thing as we get older to drink a little bit less, for sure. The Last Martini, though, the book is terrific. It starts with an innocent party, but quickly turns into a nightmare. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this thrilling story.
Well, I'm not sure there's any particular inspiration for the book. I think what you'll find if you take a look at I've had three books published now, and I think if you take a look at them, what sort of kind of links them all together is that there are marriages that are not working, and you see a lot of that. Look, I'm on my second marriage,
Mhm.
so I have a little bit of familiarity with that fact, and I think readers can identify with
Mhm.
the fact that there are marriages that don't work for any reason, any of a multiple of reasons. In this case, the reason is that the husband, who is a lawyer, which is what I've been for 53 years,
Mhm.
and is really the villain of the piece in this book, is a cold, detached, and emotionally abusive husband
Mhm.
who basically generally has abandoned his wife to his pursuit of money and success in the legal profession. There are other factors that drive him, as you know,
Yep.
other than that. Um, but I wanted to be able to weave into this book um, uh, the concept of a bad marriage, a a person who's been abused by the bad marriage, and how one mistake can metastasize into something that you would never ever have expected that could have very dire consequences. That's what I tried to build it with. And when I thought about how I would structure the introduction, I actually thought about how I would kill
Mhm.
the couple that gets killed, and I thought about poisoning a martini, and then once I did that, the title for the book became very easy to come up
Exactly.
with, The Last Martini. So that's how it came about. And now I obviously wanted it to be more than just a story about a bad marriage. I wanted it to be a story about what happens to the wife when she makes this mistake. I wanted it to be a story about how the police deal with it, how you have the conflict in the police department between um, the male detective whose wife has been unfaithful and who therefore thinks that any woman who's been unfaithful should be punished, and the younger female policewoman who says you're not giving this a fair evaluation of the facts. I wanted to take a look at the husband, the abusive husband, and his character, and try and see how I could bring this all together.
Yeah.
So as you read it, you see that I write the story in kind of two parallels. You have the story of the wife, you have the story of the husband. Interestingly enough, they only come together pretty much at the end of the book,
Yeah.
and in the denouement for the villain.
Yeah. It has a lot of noir overtones, don't you think?
Yes, it does. It does. You could see this being filmed in black and white if it were ever going to be a movie. It
Yeah.
would play pretty well there. And you could probably, if you were going to try and cast this movie from the noir era,
Hmm.
you could see George Sanders as the husband.
Yeah.
You could see, um, as the wife, you could take any reasonably attractive actress from that era, but probably, and this is not a reasonably attractive actress, she's a very attractive actress, Jean Tierney,
Yep.
playing, playing Nicole. And then for the character actors, you could pick Lee J. Cobb for
Wow.
the chief inspector, and then you could probably pick someone like Mona Freeman for the police sergeant. I think about this when I write books. If I were going to make a movie, I have to try and visualize the characters.
Sure.
I don't just want to describe them. I want to visualize them in my head, and that drives my description of them.
Yeah. Well, I love your casting. I think we should get AI together, bring all those actors back to life and put them together in this film. That'd be terrific. And that's going to happen someday. You're going to have brand new movies starring a young Clint Eastwood or a young Lee J. Cobb. And there's all kinds of fascinating, or Tierney, fascinating things are going to happen. So who knows? But we can find contemporary actors that would fit the roles as
I'm
well.
sure.
But
I'm sure. I
it's,
just, I'm 77 years old, so I tend to think in the terms of the movies I watched when I'm growing up.
that's my frame of reference as well. I was thinking maybe Elizabeth Scott as Nicole Beaumont, Gene Tierney's
She's a
another
little
one.
too hard-edged, I think. Nicole's a little softer than Elizabeth Scott.
Right, exactly, exactly. But it's fun playing the casting game in your
Yeah,
head, no doubt.
yeah.
Give the folks at home an overview of the story, like the
Okay,
elevator pitch to a movie executive of what this
sure,
story's
sure.
about.
Nicole Beaumont has been married for quite some time to Jack Beaumont, who is a very successful lawyer. He is traveling on the road almost all the time. She basically feels as if she's married but alone.
Mhm.
She has a very good friend who lives next door, and Maryanne, and she gets invited to a party at Maryanne's to open the summer. It's going to be a big to-do for the entire neighborhood, and it's a pool party, and she's disinclined to go because she's getting tired of explaining to all of her friends and acquaintances why her husband is never there.
Hmm.
She begs him to come home for the party. He refuses to come home. But she gets talked into going to the party. She goes to the party. Um, she she's an attractive woman. Her friend talks her into wearing a skimpy bathing suit. After everyone else leaves, she and Marianne and Ted end up in the hot tub. And before too long, things go from just splashing around in the water to splashing around in the bedroom. And she lets all of her inhibitions go. They've been pent up for some time. And in the course of the evening, she gets up and says she's going to go get another drink. And she asks them, would they like another drink? They ask for a martini. She
Hmm.
does not drink a martini. She drinks a Greyhound, which is vodka. They drink the martini, which is gin.
Hmm.
And it turns out that the gin has been spiked with phenobarbital.
Hmm.
And so she serves them their last martini. Um, she takes a shower, she climbs into bed between the two of them, and when she wakes up in the morning, they're dead.
Yeah. That is
Um,
quite a premise for
yeah,
sure.
the police come, and they, of course, the inspector, as I said, his wife is a tart,
Hmm.
and he hates tarts, and he regards Nicole as a tart because she spent the night with someone other than her husband, and he's convinced she's guilty because she's there. She had opportunity, and it turns out um, that Ted was a videographer, and he had an automatic system that videoed everything that went on in his bedroom and in their bathroom. And so they have Nicole serving the drink
Mm.
to them that kills them. So he figures, I've got an ironclad case. His partner, a female police officer, sergeant, Joanne, she says, "Look, where's your motive for this? There's no motive for this." And if you take a look at what went on in the bedroom, that she doesn't look like someone who was ready to kill these people. But he's convinced, although he does relent and allow her to go investigate.
Yeah.
And the rest of the book, well, not the rest of the book, but the middle of the book is about the investigation and
Mm.
what they discover as they go through this process. I don't know how much of this I want to give away.
Yeah, we don't want to give away too much because we want people to read the book for sure.
Right.
And
The investigation takes her to talk to everyone. It turns out that Ted has literally a library of videos of people with whom he and his wife had had sexual relations. And
amazing.
so the theory is, her theory at least, the sergeant's is, each of these could have a possible motive
Yeah.
for wanting to kill them, whether it was blackmail or embarrassment or whatever. The investigation takes them through all of these people, some other people, takes them to the West Coast, where the husband has been working all along, and eventually, they discover who the killer is, and I've probably given that away already. Not who, the killer, but who orchestrated
Right.
the killing. Although there are, um, I won't give away why. The why
Right.
of the killing
Yeah.
is interesting. So eventually, and this book has a significant LGBTQ theme in it. Eventually, the sergeant has actually kind of fallen in love with Nicole as she's gone
Mm.
through the investigation, and the last part of the book is about that, whether you want to call it love, infatuation, or desire,
Yeah.
and that leads
Wonderful.
to the conclusion.
And with the detective falling in love with what was once the prime suspect, you
Right.
again you have one of those noir themes that I think
Correct.
is really
Correct.
wonderful. Yeah.
You can see a little bit of Laura with Dana
Yeah, Dana
Andrews and Gene
Andrews.
Tierney and Clifton Webb in that. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Amazing, amazing story, no doubt. Before we leave you, infidelity, temptation, betrayal, they're all critical parts of the Last Martini. Why do you think these themes resonate so well with audiences?
I think they resonate with audiences because it's a fact of life.
Mm.
Look, how many marriages last? I mean, in the United States, it's over 50% fail, right? And why do
Right.
marriages fail? Temptation and betrayal
Yeah.
are a large part of why marriages fail. They fail for other reasons, of course, money, and things. But even in that case, the financial stress makes somebody susceptible to temptation and
Hmm.
makes them willing to betray their partner.
Yeah.
And I'd say that there are a lot of people in this country who feel that at one time or another, in the course of a marriage or a relationship, there has been temptation to which the other party has succumbed and betrayal, and that often leads to, I wouldn't say often, but that often well, it does lead to animosity and sometimes violence.
Exactly. And sometimes murder, for sure, without a doubt. The name of the book is The Last Martini. It is a gripping, seductive, and shocking thriller. It is a story about a seemingly innocent night of indulgence, rather, that turns deadly for Nicole Beaumont. Her life is upended when she wakes up next to two lifeless bodies. Suspense, scandal, and a shocking twist await in this must-read novel. It is powerful. Hollywood, if you're listening, this would be a star maker of a film. It's
Well,
really,
Logan, I
really
would
great.
say from your lips to God's ears.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. Not since LA Confidential have I seen a book that would translate into a movie as well as this one, because I happen to love the genre of noir, and this has certainly noir overtones. John, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, sir. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.